is Tom's World Beer Tour, a podcast story featuring Tom Bowman and Tom Bradley. Now, crack one open and let the tour begin.
A little bit on the happy side today, and it's not because of the amount of consumption yet. That's not it at all. It's just a great day to be inside your beautiful lair, your lair down here. Because it's hotter than hell outside. It's hot and it's muggy and it's crappy out
Midwest weather. So those of you that are listening in California and Wisconsin and all the northern states, you're loving it. If you're in Texas, I talked to a buddy today in Texas on the way home.
Yeah.
Miserable. He moved from L.A. to Texas.
It's worse in Texas than L.A.?
Oh, yeah.
What is L.A.?
There's no humidity in L.A. No. And where our guest is today, there's really no humidity. It's beautiful. It's like paradise.
So L.A. blows. They blow their humidity here. That's what happens.
Yeah, well, you get that offshore breeze, so you get that natural cooling from the ocean.
Here, you get a breeze coming off the Missouri River, the Mississippi River, the pond down the road.
Yeah, you get to smell
the lagoon.
The lagoon. See, that's the thing. When you first move here from out of state and somebody says, hey, you want to come over? Yeah, do you have a place to swim? Or we have this really beautiful lagoon. Don't fall for that.
No.
The lagoon is
But those are everywhere. Those are everywhere. You got those in California. You got them in Texas.
I mean, if you live in the country, I'm once again, city mouse.
Yeah, I know.
We've had this conversation.
I know.
City mouse. So yeah, we got an exciting guest today from all the way from California.
All right,
so we said we would not dilly. It's a she. I'm giving you it's a she.
Yeah.
And in about an hour, she has people to see. So we are not going to dilly. I will remind you of a couple of things, right? Don't forget that while you're watching this on Facebook, a lot of you are, don't forget not just hit like, but hit follow. It's the button up top.
Right.
That way when we post, you'll see. Because not only do we post videos, but the bad roadie, although he's not here today, shoots really great pictures during our shows and posts them after I post videos.
If he's a really bad roadie, when he doesn't show up, is he worse or
Badder.
is that better?
He's a batter roadie.
It's
I
like,
don't know how to explain
he's not
it.
here today. That's fantastic.
So he's been doing some great pictures. So they're
Yeah.
there as well. Don't forget, we're on Instagram. We're on Twitter, all those places. And as a podcast, it comes out the next day, Thursday.
Yeah.
So Wednesday nights, we post these videos. On Thursday mornings, early, Tom's World Beer Tour, wherever you download and like podcasts, subscribe. It's free. Everybody loves free. Apple, Stitcher, iHeart, Spotify. If you're not on one of those four, I don't know what platform you're on, and good luck. If you're on like Slackbox or some BS, I don't know what that is.
Quick note about last week, by the way. We were poolside, and I said we can't be in the pool while we're doing this, although we did interview Deborah, my wonderful bride of 38 years.
In the pool.
She was in the pool.
Yeah.
We had a wireless mic. That's the only thing she could get near, really.
Right.
But we had the best evening for sitting outside. If we were doing it today, this afternoon, this would be hell.
Well, it was great. Those were the 2 days of that week. So Tuesday night, let's not forget, I went to Foo Fighters in St. Louis, and it was spectacular.
Yeah.
74 degrees. By the way, see this right here? Mm-hmm. For those of you that can't see, I'm pointing to my shirt. BBBQ stands for Backbeat Barbecue. Dave Grohl's barbecue team.
Okay, I don't mean to be the one to do this, but there really should have been another B then. Backbeat Barbecue.
Backbeat is one word. There's no space. Backbeat. There's no space. Backbeat Barbecue.
There's a space.
There's not.
Then
here's the back.
There's a space.
Can you see the back?
Yeah, I see the back. I like the logo.
How great is that? If I got a full back tat of this, would that be all right?
It'd be weird, but
I'm a
it
fan.
would be. Is backbeat really one word? I guess it is.
It is. And a follow-up, that cream color tour shirt that I didn't like.
Yes.
I like better because I actually threw it in a dryer after I washed it, which I never do with T-shirts. Fits perfectly now.
Yeah, but it's so cream colored.
I know.
Why don't we tie-dye that thing? And I think that'd be fun. We're dilly-dallying
We're
now.
dillying, and we
Let's
need to be
don't do it.
dallying. So really special guest. And tonight, we're not going to have a conversational beer. We'll have a conversational.
I'm sorry, what?
There's no conversational beer. There's tailgaters. What do we got here? We're doing the Big Shark Tangerine Radler.
From Urban Chestnut.
Urban Chestnut.
Out of
This
St.
is
Louis.
delightful.
It's very delicious.
No, because we're bringing on our guest, and you have our music to bring on our guest.
I do have our music to bring on the guest. And now, Tom Bowman, I'll turn it over to you.
Look at this, all the way from Yountville, which is just below Napa Valley. You pass Yountville on your way to the Napa Valley.
Yountville.
I'm going to tell you the secrets
Isn't
of Yountville.
it like, you want some beer today? You want some beer?
Out here, you would do that.
Okay.
And there's all sorts of weird stories about who came up with Yount and who the Yount person was. We're not going to talk about that. So in Yountville, there's a couple of beautiful tasting rooms. They're not necessarily wineries per se, but they're tasting rooms.
Yeah.
You don't go to the winery. So this guest is near and dear to me because every time we go out to the Napa Valley, we stop at both of these places. They have this winery that we're going to introduce, and they have a sister winery.
Okay.
So
all right.
this is my wine expert.
This is her.
This is Vi Mattson, all the way from Napa Valley. Look at that. There she is.
Hi, Vi.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, this is. I love that voice. Say something for me. Just talk.
That's what I'm here to do. Talk and drink.
I know,
That's what I do
right?
best.
There you go. Whoops.
Love the sound of that.
I'll turn that
That's
down
me.
a little
Up
bit.
a
You
little
turn
bit.
that up a little bit. There you go. So where she is right now, I have to tell you a couple of things. First of all, Handwritten Wines is where. Is it wines or winery? I think I always say it wrong. I just say handwritten.
It's Handwritten Wines.
Handwritten Wines.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
you're right.
Handwritten Wines in Yountville. You have a sister winery called Jessup Cellars. They are both
We don't
tasting
like them.
rooms. You don't like them?
No, we
Wow.
don't like
This is. They're sisters that compete.
They
right?
are. So
them. Obviously.
So here's what happened. Originally, we always would go to Jessup Cellars in Yountville.
Uh-huh.
Beautiful tasting room. They've got artwork and everything. And for the longest time, Handwritten didn't have a big tasting room. They had this little cottage,
Yeah.
right? And so I have a picture. I purposely went through my pictures to show you what it used to be and then what it is. So you would go into this little cottage. I'll put this up on my camera. Vi knows this. This little cottage, and you would go in. They would do 4 tastings a day. And it was very, very cool and very, very different than a standard tasting. Look at that. You walked in, there was a little chalkboard, and then
Do you
would.
see that sign there? Though?
What does it
we
say?
still have it.
Oh, do you?
It's
Nice.
Not only do we still have it, it's in the front of our new tasting room, and the person who wrote it 10 years ago, it's the same writing.
I love that. And then when
We've
you would go
never
in,
erased it.
look at this. You would get your own little personal. Come on, camera, focus. There it is. See, it would say handwritten. Welcome to the Tom Bowman party. Look at that. Isn't that fancy?
Wow.
That's
That's very
still do.
nice.
pretty nifty. And then here's another shot of that tasting room. So this experience we loved, and I think these were from early 2019. But at the end of 2019, I believe a group of us were one of the last to ever be in this room. We went in late December, and Handwritten, where you are now, Vi, didn't open up until 2020.
Yeah, I came on board December of 2019 to open this tasting room. So we officially had an event here for New Year's Eve, and then we opened our doors for tasting January 2nd
So
of
when
2020. So really good timing, guys.
when you
Really good
mentioned
timing.
the 4 tastings a day, Vi, does that mean that you guys schedule tastings? And you said you had your
Well,
little.
this is the old place. The old
No.
place was this little cottage, and you did 4 a day. I think it was 10, 12, 2, and 4.
Yep.
I probably know way more than I should.
So the difference today, everything's still, so it's a new world
Right.
with COVID. And so a tasting room is set up a little bit different. We absolutely have to have an appointment. And that's just so we don't have to say no to you,
Right.
because there's a lot of people here and there's not a lot of space.
My camera's
So-
whacked out. Look at this thing.
Yeah, no, it's just you're up there with the.
I know. If you're watching, I'm sorry. I'm a little blurry. I don't know why. So I'm just going to switch over. We're just going to look at Vi for a second.
I think
while
that's a
figure
great
out
idea.
what my
That's a
camera's doing. 'cause
fantastic
it's,
idea.
It's acting really weird. So,
Hey, guys.
so where she is now is what is the recreation of that small cottage. It's called The Study. Is that correct?
Yep.
And now it is our new favorite room. So we go in that room now, and it's your own little private space.
So was this a brand new construction? Is that what this was? Is?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it was an empty field. It took almost 4 years to finish.
Wow.
We kept having to put off the opening sign. So it was like opening December, 2017, and then it was 2018 spring, and then by the end of 2018 we just put opening because we didn't know when it was going to be.
Sure.
So almost 4 years, and we have a beautiful tasting room, about 3,000 square feet in the main tasting room. And the building's made out of redwood vats from V cellars. So back in the day when you'd store wine, you'd store them in these huge vats. So the building itself is made out of those, but it's a brand new build outside of that. It's
That is
beautiful.
Really cool.
Right.
That's
I
really
am
something.
I am so blurry right now. If you're watching on video, I'm trying to figure out what
Nah,
the
we'll
hell's
get it
going on
figured-
with it.
we'll get it
Anyways, we'll
figured
figure
I
it
think
out.
it's the humidity you were talking
It's
about.
it's
earlier.
absolutely the humidity. So
That's all
so
steamy
here's
on
a-
his side of the
it's
bar.
all steamy. So here's
Yeah.
why when we were thinking about guests, most days we think about the show on Monday, and then we talk on Tuesday, and we do the show on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So this time last week, we actually planned. So we actually decided, hey, I go, how about this? I've got some Napa Valley guests. I love the Napa Valley. We go out at least twice a year, sometimes 3 times a year. Let me bring somebody on from one of our favorite places. And so what I wanted to bring Vi on was to talk about the difference between, well, in tourism in general, right? So you go to Napa Valley, and most people think of Napa Valley as I'm going to get on a bus with a whole ton of people, and we're going to go to this winery and this winery and this wine. You're going to go to like 12 wineries, and you're going to walk up to some bar with all sorts of other people, and some guy's going to come by with a bottle and go, hey, have you had the red yet? No? Okay, here you go. Oh, have you had the white yet? Here you go.
Is this good or bad?
No, it's horrible, and that's what a lot of people do, and I hate it. It drives me crazy. But at the end of the day, what I love is the one-on-ones. And so we go to a lot of boutique wineries. Chandra, Barbecue Matt's wife, has been our Sherpa for many years. She grew up in the Napa Valley. And it was her that turned us on to Jessup. And then, of course, through Jessup, we found Handwritten. And through Handwritten, we found Vi.
So, Vi, are both of these boutique wineries?
Yeah, both would be considered boutique. So Jessup does about 10,000 cases, which is still considered very small. We do about 2,000 cases. And that's give or take weather. And when I say weather, I also mean fires. So
yeah. Oh, look at that. It's all fixed now.
Yeah.
Yeah, for us, it's we just say 2,000. It could be anywhere from 400 to 2,300, depending on
So per
what's
year,
happening
you
that
only
year.
do 2,000 cases per year.
Per year, 2,000 cases.
I think 1,000
Everything
cases
comes
come to
off
my
of
house, to be honest
2-acre
with you.
vineyard lots.
I'm pretty sure a lot of that's coming to my house. In fact, when I said we don't have a conversational beer this week, it's because we have a conversational bottle.
Wait a second. You both have the same bottle?
We do, because that's how it works, right? When we had Sean Kelly on from New Orleans, he went and got a Beta.
We both had it. We all had a
Beta here. We have had Sudverks. We have all these different people on. Well, guess what? This is a 2010 Napa Valley Cab from Handwritten. By the way, your bottles weigh more than any bottles on the planet. Feel how heavy that
Yes,
bottle
they
is.
Why?
do.
Why?
They're thicker. Tell us why.
Like
bigger's better.
The glass is thicker?
It's thicker.
It's a triple pane glass. So in general, when you have bottles of wine, red wine needs to have a UV filter, right? That's why it's this color.
Yeah.
So sun can't do damage. And then the weight of it comes down to stability of the bottle. 2 pane is plenty to keep it safe and lay it down and do all the fun stuff you would with wine. We just like bigger, heavier, more substantial bottles.
Okay.
It's really just because we like it.
Okay, I didn't realize that. I've never known that it would be heavier from one to the
This
next.
wine is so ready. It's already, there's a little bit of seepage on this wine underneath the foil. So
This
that's a lot.
are you opening yours now?
She already hoped.
Vi?
I did the fancy Corvin, so that's why there's like a little needle mark there.
Yeah.
So what I did was around 2:15, I decanted it.
Oh wow.
We're not decanting.
Yeah.
We're drinking.
You
So-
wait a second. It's a different time zone there. So it was like 2 hours ago you decanted this?
No, 45 minutes ago.
45 minutes ago. I'm lost.
Yep.
45 minutes ago you did. And here goes Tom Bowman is now pulling the cork out. And here it comes. And
Which, by the way,
there it is.
look at this. Look at this beautiful wine opener we have downstairs in the bar. Isn't that beautiful?
That's very pretty.
is it really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is.
Vi, I don't know anything about this, which is why I'm going to tell you, don't pour me a
I'm not, because I will tell you
lumberjack
that
serving on this
this
thing.
is not $2 Chuck.
Yeah.
I'm just telling
And you had to
No,
get
I-
you had to
$2
get
Chuck isn't $2 Chuck anymore. It's
No.
$4.
Inflation. It's $2 Chuck, $4.
Is this one of your favorites, Vi? Vi, is this one of your favorite wines? Hello?
It could
What did I
be.
do to make Vi laugh?
I don't know.
The way I poured it? Probably. I'm a caveman.
No, because it's a beautiful wine.
Cheers.
It needs to open. You guys are opening it right now.
Yeah.
So, it's going to change while you're talking.
I know. I should have.
So
I didn't
am
get
I.
home. I did not get home fast enough to decant this.
That's all right.
Typically, what I do is I just use a Venturi when I'm in a hurry.
Uh-huh.
That rhymes, by the way.
I like it.
So
works.
this is a beautiful dark. Look at it. It's beautiful. Vi's got a good look on hers. As my Napa Valley.
You always hold something white up to it
There you go. Look at
so you can see the color.
Look at
Wow.
that. Look at that. If I hold
I
it up
have
to
a-
my skin, see, because I'm very pale.
You are pretty
lovely.
pale.
Can I
It
take
almost
Can I
works.
take a sip? Or you guys gonna keep on playing color games over here? Can I?
Right.
I'm going in.
Well, why? You should drink it.
Oh my gosh, dude. I haven't even
I'm
decanted
smelling it.
It's delightful. And I have video of you drinking wine. This is fantastic. The beer guy is drinking wine.
Well, there's no question that number one, I've always liked reds and dry wines.
Yeah.
That's my go-to. So this is good. I like this.
So
big cabs.
explain the difference
big
of
cabs.
the handwritten wines, like the 3 words bottles that you do. And I mean, there's something special about handwritten that's different than a lot of wineries, right? As far as what you guys specialize in and all of that.
Yeah. Well, there's two things. It comes down to always people first, right? So, just to begin with, we have 4 couples that own us, and they pulled their money together. 2 are from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. We have a local Napa family and 1 in Southern California, and they set the tone for the place, right? So the reason I think people enjoy coming to visit us is a couple of things. We're friendly, we're nice, we're down to earth. We're always going to try to teach you something, whether you like it or not. We're going to talk about the wine. I'm not going to pour you wine and walk away. I will always pour you wine and tell you not just about the vineyard, but how it's made, because I think that's the romance of anything that you're drinking and ingesting, is knowing where it came from. People worked on this every single day for years. Our Cab program is 3 years. So every day someone has touched this bottle, this wine, for 3 years. And that doesn't count for all the vineyard management that went into it, right? So we always try to talk about the wine, give you the appreciation. But that's because we have great owners. They love us. We love them. They care about people. In the tasting room, if someone's been there for over a year, that means something. And we've been here for years and years and years. And then for the actual wine itself, we do 2-acre vineyard lots. So we don't just pour wine. I'm not just giving you a Napa Cab. I'm giving you 300% Napa Cabs from 2-acre vineyard lots. They're genetically the same. They're made exactly the same way by the same winemaker, who's Rob Lloyd. They're farmed by him. He has a master's from UC Davis in enology and viticulture. So everything's kept the same. So when we're trying these wines, we're actually tasting what soil and weather do. The integrity of wine comes from the soil and the weather. So do you know if you like cool climate wines? Well, you'll find out. Do you even know what it means to say mountain wines versus valley floor? You know, a lot of wine is intimidating because of the vocabulary, and we try to take that out. You know, I always say practice and theory. I'd rather just pour you mountain wine than tell you about it. Let's drink it first.
Well, I like
and
that
then we'll
attitude.
talk about
Which
why
I
it's
love.
different.
Listen, the Diamond Mountain, it comes up from the Sonoma side. You get that marine layer. It kisses the grapes. And on the other side, you get the warmth from the Napa Valley. And right?
Tom,
See?
that's kind of
Yep.
sexy. I'm going to be honest with
I
you.
got to tell you.
Howell Mountain wine is sexy.
It
There,
is.
listen to
I think
Vi.
Everybody knows
Vi,
that.
Vi,
Look
by the
at
way,
it.
Vi is short for what?
Oh.
What's your
It's
name?
short for Virenda.
Spell that.
Virenda.
E-N-D-A. Have you ever heard that name before?
Yeah, at Handwritten.
At Handwritten Wines when you were there. That's
the only
really
time.
that's very pretty, Virenda.
So
That's
when they
nice.
opened
It's
up
mine.
Handwritten, we were there pretty early. Like we were there within the first 6 months of Handwritten opening during COVID, and it was Vi who actually did our first tasting at the new tasting room at Handwritten outside in the blistering heat with a nice covering, and it was
Brutal.
fantastic. And I don't know if you've met me, but I talk a lot.
No.
Shocking, right?
Yeah.
And so Vi and Matt, who used to be there, who's a trader now, he's left to go to another winery. We won't talk about him anymore.
He's
And
at Alora.
I
highly
know,
recommend it.
and
pretty
it's
good.
way too expensive to go to a tasting, so I need him to call me because holy
Oh,
shit,
that's
it's
true.
expensive. So
Well, I know a guy. I can help you.
there you go. And Zeke, and we've developed friendships with these guys
Yeah.
because while we don't see them every day or every month, hell, if I lived out there, I probably would. We do go out a number of times a year, and even though we go to other boutique wineries with Matt and Chandra, we always stop at Jessup. We always stop at Handwritten. In fact, we are now not only members of Jessup, we are also members of Handwritten now because of the last trip out.
Yeah.
So we've got wines coming from both of these wineries regularly. This 3 words. You guys don't do 3 words anymore, right? That stopped.
We have the plan is as long as fires don't occur this
I
year
know,
for
right?
2021, we will finally get 3 words in the tanks to ferment,
Right.
right? And then it'll go in barrels. So we'll have it in 3 years.
Can you describe what three
Fingers
words is? Can you
crossed.
describe what you're getting when you get a bottle of 3 words? 3 words is one of our top, probably 5 wines that we have. Table for Four is a wine from Jessup Cellars
I
that we
love
really
Table for
love.
Four.
It's
Yep.
also in that
So
heavy
three
bottle.
three words is a wine.
It's a wine offering
All
of
right.
theirs.
So what is 3 words?
So 3 words is the only blend that we do. So the difference between Jessup and Handwritten, we have same owner, same winemaker. Is Jessup does blends. They call it the blends, and they do things outside of Napa Valley as well. Just if you're gonna get a Zin, Alexander Valley is a great place to get a Zin. It's hotter up there. So our focus is on these tiny 2-acre vineyard lots across Napa, and we keep all the cab exactly the same so that you could try them. We do one blend, and it's called 3 words, and it's Cabernet, Cab Franc, and Petit Verdot.
Mm.
And it's a co-fermented blend, so it's really rare. About 1% of blends are made this way. Rob Lloyd gets to, through a lot of hard work, education, and ego, farms this vineyard and chooses the grapes the day of how much, and they go into the tank and ferment all together. So generally speaking, if you do a blend, you pick your Petit Verdot or your Cab Franc or your Merlot or your Cab, whatever you're doing. You pick it whenever it's ready. You age it for at least a year, depending, year and a half. And then after that, you'll blend it and then put it back in the barrel or put it in the bottle, depending on what you do. For us, we co-ferment. That means it goes from the field together, which is co-field. We pick the grapes, and that same day they go into the tanks and ferment. So it spends its whole life together.
Is that like real important that it's that same day?
It is real important because then it wouldn't be co-fermented, right?
It's
Okay.
You just
all
have
happening
things
at the
aged
same
The
time.
same
It's
time.
one
separately.
thing. And I have to. We have a number of these bottles, right? So
Uh-huh.
we love them, and they change every year. When you guys do it, it's going to
They
change.
do because of the weather. That's what I
Yeah.
love. Weather tells us what we're gonna do. We definitely never tell the weather what it's gonna do.
No, you can't. And so,
No.
my other love, of course, is bourbon, and there's art in barreling and how you do it, and there's certain blends now that they're doing and things like that. And wine is the same way. And I mean, at the end of the day, we've always said, drink what you like. If you like Barefoot Moscato, drink Barefoot Moscato. Drink what you like. Support the industry. Don't give me that look. That was a long time ago. My friend's the winemaker there. Actually, I went to school with her, so I have to be
I
nice.
was gonna say I had Boone's Farm.
Well,
Was
we
one
all
of my
stole from
first
our
ones.
we all stole from
And
our parents' refrigerators. I mean, I get that.
my mom's was a bartender, and I grew up on a vineyard, so I stole from them all the time.
Yeah.
Sure. Those are good
Let's
times.
talk about this. So, did you grow up in the valley? I know we've had this conversation outside of this show, but
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you grew
So
up.
not really. So yes and no. And the reason why it has to be so difficult is because I'm difficult. My
Welcome
great
to the show.
grandfather, my great grandfather came here from Sicily and came to Napa Valley, and then he met my nonni, my great grandmother, who comes from central Canovo Abruzzo in Italy. They married. They had children. He worked for Behringer as a vineyard manager for 30 years and lived in Rutherford. But he saved up money because back in the day, you could actually do this. You worked Monday through Friday, you saved up money. He purchased his own 100-acre cab vineyard in Mendocino County, which is about 2 hours north of here. It's in between two mountain ranges as well and is a valley. It's a little cooler and a little bit hotter, believe it. So, a little bit more extreme weather. And I grew up in there. So my family, I've always come to Napa. My family still have been here, but I grew up on a ranch vineyard in the middle of nowhere.
And what was
And
your
I do mean
plan?
in the middle of nowhere.
What was your plan? What were you going to go do when you grew up to be a full-fledged adult? What was the original plan?
Oh God!
I say original
Besides
plan because I'm
being
pretty
like
sure
a
you're not doing it
princess
now.
ballerina dinosaur.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
I mean, obviously. I went to school. Actually, went to Cal for culture anthropology.
Cal Berkeley?
Cal Berkeley, go Bears!
I'm going to be there tomorrow, Thursday.
I know. That's why I yelled "Go Bears" at you earlier.
That's what it was.
That's what it was.
Oh, excellent. Look at you.
I used to once upon a time be a ghostwriter, and I went back to school, and culture anthropology has always been really, really interesting to me. And then I got into wine. It's just one of those things, like in life, your path is never a straight A to B kind of situation.
Right.
So I needed a job, as we do, to pay bills, and I started working for Hillstone Restaurant Group. And the place I worked at was a tiny little, believe it or not, gas station in Yountville. It has Dom Perignon and some of the best wine
Is
selections
that
you
the
can
one on the
find.
Is that the one on the corner?
Yes, it
Oh.
is.
Is this where you find some of your special bottles?
No. But they're known for like a burrito, or there's some other
A
specialty.
hot dog.
Thank you.
Hot dog.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Which
I'll
is
tell you,
ironic
yeah.
because, and let me just detour for 2 seconds and we'll get back to this. This little chunk in Yountville, this main drag, it starts with this gas station and Restoration Hardware, which is a really cool restaurant, and then Jessup, and then between Jessup and Handwritten is what we call Thomas Keller Row. So first of all, the French Laundry, which is like one of the greatest French restaurants in the world,
Okay.
is spitting distance from Jessup Cellars. So you pass by it. So you got the French Laundry, and then you have all of these Thomas Keller restaurants, and he's built probably 4 or 5 over the last few years. And it's some of the most exquisite dining on the planet in little old Yountville. People pass by Yountville to go to the Napa Valley on those stupid tour buses, have no idea. My stepfather,
Don't tell
Terry,
them.
grew up, you know where that gas station is, so kitty corner away where those houses are is where he grew up. My stepfather grew up in Yountville, and so right in this little neighborhood. I wish he would have kept the house, for God's sakes, but
Yeah.
it's an amazing little strip. All right, so there's the gas station.
Yeah, I love that too, because Yountville, what it was, my family's from here, so I grew up on stories of Yountville. And Yountville 20 years ago is not the same.
No, it's also where the
It's
veterans
the
home
veterans
is.
home.
The veterans home.
That's what we're known
Yeah.
for.
And now
so-
Thomas Keller.
and then Thomas Keller came and had the French Laundry, and through that it's transformed into something, I mean, really beautiful. I always tell people, picture like kind of Mayberry kind of situation. It's a mile long. It starts actually with Ad Hoc and us and the veterans home on California, and you go down Washington, and it ends at Kelly's, the old place I used to work, and Jessup. Kelly's gas station is actually owned by Hillstone. So this gentleman who, George Beale, who came out of Texas, still lives there and in Yountville. It's a little tiny gas station. They do coffee very well and hot dogs, and weirdly, it is known. We're in books about it. So it's hot dogs, but wine. And all
I've
of
never
the
had
wine
a hot
buying
dog
for
from there.
most of the country's Hillstones are done out of this little gas station. Nobody has any clue. It's surprising that there's this great selection of wine, but it's because all the wine buying is done there. And I worked there because I needed a job, and they gave me one, as it happens.
And you were doing what for them? Pumping
I
gas?
made coffee. No, it's fantastic. I made coffee every morning.
Yeah.
And I sold wine.
Best
and I
pit
made
crew
those
ever. They come
hot
out to your
dogs.
car, they jack your car up, they check your tires, they give you a thing of coffee, they give you a bottle of wine, they finish filling you up, and they send you on your
I
way.
think that's great. That's awesome.
I mean, it's not far from the truth. So, I mean, it really isn't. Like, one of my favorite people in the world, one of the big names from this valley, he came in with his truck to the gas station. And this is exactly why I got into wine. So it's not even tangential. Rob Mondavi, the nicest, greatest father I've ever met. Just a cool guy. Comes
Notice
in
she
with
called
these,
him
like,
Rob. This would be Robert Mondavi. Have you heard the name
Right.
Robert
Oh,
Mondavi?
so Bobby Mondavi. Okay, go on.
Bobby
then, yeah.
Mondavi Jr.
Junior.
Okay, Junior. But
So-
if we don't have Robert Mondavi, we don't have the Napa Valley. Let me be very clear.
Yeah,
there was a lot of great documentaries.
And Behringer. Let's talk about
Yes.
the Behringer brothers who came here in the 1800s.
Absolutely.
So, because we got interrupted by Prohibition, damn it.
Well, there's that.
So-
I mean, that was a problem for these guys too behind me.
Yeah, love bourbon. So he pulls up in his truck, and he has fermentation tanks, and he gets in the back of his truck, and they have these little spouts. He spouts it up, grabs some wine, hands it off to us, goes back on his merry way. And
Wow.
I would have Ghost Block. The owners of Ghost Block came in every morning. The owner of Gemstone, and the owner of Handwritten Jessup, Vance Thompson. And they would all come in the morning, including Paradigm, which are all local wineries here. And they would come in the morning and they'd gift me bottles at birthday or Mother's Day or all these different holidays, and the vineyard manager, one of my favorite people for Duckhorn, and just everybody. It's just a place you grab coffee, maybe gas if you really needed it, and your whole day was started here. And I got to participate in that just by making coffee.
Mm.
And I realized how passionate they are and how down to earth. Napa has this thing, and as beer drinkers, I know there's always this like somehow this divisiveness between like beer and wine, but there's not.
Oh, do
Like,
tell.
There isn't.
I'm
There it
drinking wine.
really isn't. My winemakers and vineyard managers, they're dirty, they farm, they're down to earth, and they brought me wine. I fell in love, and that's exactly why I got into wine. And you'll appreciate this for beer drinkers. The phrase in the valley is it takes a lot of beer to make wine, and it's a literal cliche.
I'm sure it does.
Do you need more? Or are you
It
good?
does.
No, I'm
So
good.
harvest begins August, goes until actually early November, but we'll say August, September, October. Every winery I know personally keeps track of how much beer they drink during harvest because they're working 14-hour days and they have to go up 7 days a week. And they don't just keep track of beer, it's a challenge to outdrink the amount of beer they had last year.
Wow, I like these guys.
I like this already.
This
This
is
is the
great.
side that I
So-
didn't know about.
Oh yeah, if you're cleaning tanks, because that's what fermentation is. It's tough, hard work, and beer is refreshing. When you work in wine and you're tasting wine, the tannins coat your mouth. You need something to clear it, to clean it. So you drink a lot of beer because you're working all day long, and beer and wine do that slow burn, which everybody likes. So you're not going to get hammered immediately.
Right.
So where I used to work, which I won't name them just in case they get upset, but I worked at a very, very, very nice place as well before I came here, and it was 4 people and a Siri. It was 4 people, and they did 9 kegs over the course of 2.5 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
impressive.
They were
That sounds
doing
like
their
our
work.
show.
I don't know where I
And
first
they would
heard
weigh
that.
each other too. It was great.
I don't know where I first heard that, but I've heard it before. It takes a lot of beer to make wine. It's a funny phrase.
It's true.
Do they drink craft beer, or is it like a lot of natty light, or what is it?
It's both.
It's both. Because I would
It's both.
imagine. I mean, if it's really hard work, they're going to drink a lighter beer and a lot of it.
Yes, and that's what we do. So you'll see, like,
Wait, she said we. In other words, I
She's
know
part of it.
they're
Oh, I
out there
drink
cleaning
it.
tanks and all that, but she's supporting them.
She has to walk out there and
She
be a part
has
of
to
it.
make sure
listen,
it's
I
good.
have to do the hard work too, okay?
Yeah.
And doing dishes and hosting people's hard
Yeah.
work too.
Putting up
So
with
I gotta
people like
drink.
me that come in and go, "Hey, let's go," and I'm a mess when we go to. Do you
He
know how many
makes me
empty
drink.
glasses there are when we're done with the tasting?
I
Because
can only imagine.
there's a certain amount that they pour like to everybody, and then there's what they pour to people. Apparently, either they like or who buy a lot of wine, or maybe both. I think we
Uh-huh.
might fit both of those together.
Who we like.
There you go.
I'll speak on behalf of everybody. My job, people are always like, "Oh, you must love your job," and it seems like it's so great. And I'm like, it is a wonderful job. It's as good as the people who come in. My job is as easy and wonderful as the people who are in front of me. And if you come in and you're decent and kind and respectful, you'll get the absolute best service. Nice people get good service.
Yeah, and
It's
this
just the
guy,
way it
this
is.
guy doesn't know how to be an asshole when he goes someplace like that.
No,
There's no
no,
question about that.
no,
but
I'm not.
But you guys must have some real dip shits that come, right? You have to. Oh yeah.
So my dream is, I love the idea of a podcast because I kind of felt like there's a way you could make it almost anonymous.
Sure.
Because there's a lot of names that you don't want to get in trouble for. But my dream, and I told you this last time, is to either have a TV show or even a podcast about the tasting room and wine to make it accessible, but also the people who come in.
Yeah, the
because
adventures of the
it-
tasting room. I like
Oh
it.
God, it's crazy. It's
So,
just it's
so under
bananas.
the Tom's World Beer Tour series of podcasts,
Uh-huh.
maybe there's a once a quarter special podcast under Tom's World Beer Tour that happens to be Tales from the Tasting Room.
Yeah, but it's darkened,
I was gonna do, yeah, it's
and we can't see Vi.
No,
and
she's
she
got a
comes
shadow.
in. She comes in. It's like,
it's
hello
like
again
a-
from the tasting room, and it's like,
Yes, I
we-
won't name names, and I will tell you all the stories, guys. It is phrase.
I'm not
There's
kidding.
nicknames
You
for
think we're kidding?
rooms.
We're not. Careful what you wish for.
Let me ask you a question. And I know Tom and Samantha are the most gracious of people, and so
So lovely.
I would never expect
They
anything
really
less
are
than
lovely. I'm not even kidding.
here's what happens is my guess with a lot of people. They start to know a lot about something, and they kind of think they know everything, and that's when they become the real assholes. Am I right? And then it's not till they finally get to the point they're like, wow, I was an asshole all these years.
So some people, yes, some people are assholes because they think they know everything.
Yeah.
Those people, I almost don't mind because I'm like, host yourself. Clearly, you know everything.
Let me
Well,
just-
wait a
You
second.
got
That
this.
really
yourself.
sounds like
Go host yourself.
Go host yourself. I think I'm gonna use that on
Wait,
somebody
is
this
this
week.
the Napa Valley FU? Like
Yeah.
Like
Hey,
the Southern
host
FU
yourself.
is bless your heart, right?
Right.
So in Napa, it's host yourself.
Go host yourself.
It's the
Yeah.
Napa FU is what it
That's
is.
nice.
Host yourself.
Well, it's gonna be now.
It will be now.
That's
And
great.
then there's people who have the other version. There's three. The other version is they have a chip on their shoulder. They think that we're gonna be dicks. Or pardon me. They think
No, you
that
can
we're gonna
absolutely
be
say
rude.
dicks. It's not a problem.
Yeah.
So they think that, like, they immediately come in and they're put off because Napa's too fancy or whatever, and they don't like anything, and they want to make sure I know that they don't like anything. My favorite is when they come in, they go, "I don't drink red wine," and I'm like, "Well,
Then
I
you
don't
don't
know
drink
why
wine.
you're here.
What the hell's
I
wrong
don't
with
know
you?
why you're here." And then the other people, so I live near the city, and I love the city. When I say the city, we are always referring to San Francisco.
Thank you.
Thank you.
San Francisco, gosh, I love them, but sometimes tech money goes to their heads.
Yeah, agreed.
And then
but
they
they're
come out
terrible.
there and they got this
Yeah,
attitude.
those of us that grew up in the small towns. Once again, I grew up in. I pronounce it Vacaville. I don't know what the hell you did the other day on the show, like a
I
few
don't
months
know.
ago.
That's in
when- during
Vacaville?
the fire.
Vaca,
I don't know.
Vacaville?
It's really
Vacaville?
Vacaville. It's Cowtown.
I don't know
Vacaville.
what
So
the
that's
hell
where
I
I
did.
grew up, Vacaville.
Okay.
Where I'm about 45
Okay.
minutes from where she is right now. And we would also go to the city. It's like the bridge and tunnel people in New York. We were the bridge and tunnel people. Like we'd go into
Yeah.
the city, or I'd go to Berkeley to cut school to go to Blondie's Pizza in Berkeley because they had the picture of the chili peppers with the socks.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So we would go there and cut school and get slices of pizza and be in Berkeley, go to the head shops, all that kind of stuff.
And so when you went in there, you were the
Yeah, we're bridge and tunnel people. So when you go to the city, it's like, oh, we got Teslas and this and that, or whatever.
So many Teslas.
It's ridiculous.
yeah,
And they all
over the
moved
place.
here.
Yeah.
And I don't want to sound like an old crotchety person, but they're on their phones. So they come in
During
for
the
a
tasting, they're on their phones.
and they're on their phones. And I'm like, I don't know why you drove here, but I don't know what you're
Are they,
doing.
they're not
Like,
they're not talking, but they're over here with their thumbs going at it. Is that what they're doing? And
yes,
they're not looking
I had
at
a
you.
table recently. The entire table was on their phones, and I would come up and have to interrupt. I don't know what they're doing.
They're
to
texting
talk
each
about
other
the
because they don't know
wine.
how to converse.
I think I would pick up my phone with it off and just start thumbing around on mine. Just waiting for somebody to go and
Yeah.
look up, and be like,
Now, I will attest that at times, because I'm out there during the summer or I'm out there in December and I'm working, I have been known to check an email or two.
I know how you work your phone.
But when,
That's
when
completely
Vi
different.
or Zeke
no,
or somebody comes in, I put my phone down because I want to interact. I want
that's
to talk.
completely
And we
different.
talk. Here's what I love about these kind of tastings. Yes, we're talking about wine, but we're making connections. Like I've talked to Vi about bourbon and travel and her life, and we go there with Barbecue Matt and Chandra, and we just. Barbecue Matt's not a big wine guy either. He's a Bud Heavy guy. We know that.
Right.
But he loves the experience. He goes in there with his Metallica T-shirt and his Metallica Vans. I go in Foo Fighters, that kind of stuff.
Right,
and,
right.
And we're having a nice tasting. But we want to know about the people. We get to know Zeke. I found out that Zeke, who works there, we grew up in the same town. He also grew up
He
in
did,
Vacaville,
yep.
of all places. I mean,
Yep.
these are the relationships that I've had. And while, once again, I'm not there every month or 2 months, I'm there about every 6. And we pick right up. Like, listen, I don't know if I'm talking out of school, but the last time I saw Vi, first of all, she wasn't our host. It was Zeke. Zeke was new. We broke him in. It was fantastic. She had a spider bite. How was your spider bite? Can I see?
Okay, so you can see there's nothing really there,
Okay, thank God.
and I'll show my arm. So my spider bite.
Yeah, let's talk about this because we were talking to Zeke, and Zeke said, I said, hey, is Vi here? We want to say hello. And so he goes, yeah, but we're trying to get her out of here because she's got a bad spider bite. So I see her in the courtyard, and I stick my head out of that room, and I go, yo, spider bite, let's see it. That was my greeting.
Was it? What was it?
So I don't know what bit me. I think it's a spider bite. You'll appreciate that the story got. By the way, so I was so bummed that I couldn't host you because I had to leave, and that's why I was
I
like,
know.
Z, can you please take it over? So I leave to go take care of my spider bite. I get to the doctor, and I'm one of those people. I am one of those humans that unless like my hand is like profusely bleeding, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I'm the opposite. Like I will definitely die young because I will let cancer get me. So I go in there and it's swollen and yucky, but to me it's not that bad.
Not that
And they're
bad.
like,
Wait a
"What are you
minute.
here
You had the
for?"
bite and you put the little circle around it to see how big it got, and it was past the circle when I saw it.
Oh, and it was like inflamed and cracked, and it was
Gross.
gross.
Did it need to be
So
lanced? Was it pussy? Was it? What do
it
they?
was
Was it?
unfortunately a little bit like that.
Oh God.
But it did need to be lanced. But like the entry lady, she's like, "What's here?" I'm like, "A spider bite," and I hold my arm up, and she's like, "Oh, whoa!" And she made that sound. I was like, "I guess it's
Never
When the
good.
person in the
yeah.
intake is repulsed.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
First of all,
And
you know
then-
you're getting in quick too at that point.
Oh yeah, I did. I got in very quickly, and she's like, "The doctor will be with you." And what did she said? Something like her name's Brittany. And I'm like, "Oh shit, my doctor's name is Brittany." Like, I don't know what that is, but it's not gonna be
She's
great.
23. She's fresh out of med school. Nobody
Right?
names their
That's so
kid
I'm sitting
Brittany.
there
She
and-
sees the spider bite. Oh my God.
Okay.
Do you mind
not
if
to
I
make
put
fun
this
of
on
Brittany.
Insta?
I'm
Can I
sorry,
put your
Brittany.
spider bite on Insta?
Yeah.
I will send you a picture. So, I'm waiting for Brittany to arrive, and I am definitely making fun of the name because I'm like, I don't know what's gonna happen. She's amazing, by the way. If I could make her my actual practitioner. So she comes in, and I'm like, spider bite. She's like, ew, gross. She's not 20. She's in her 40s. She's great. She's like, okay, something bit you. You're having an allergic reaction. We need to give you penicillin and antibiotic. No,
Steroids.
oh, what's steroids? Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, I was like, that
absolutely.
thing that you take that you're not supposed to
Yeah,
in
yeah, yeah.
baseball. So, the nurse comes in and she's like, okay, we're gonna have to do it, but you're gonna need to take your pants off. And I was like,
Hold
oh
on.
my god.
So the spider bite's right here. Eyes up, right here.
Right? So I'm like, hey, I've heard this before. You can't fool me.
Not my first
Right?
rodeo,
Shame-
pal.
Right? What is it? Shame on me.
Yeah,
me
fool me
once.
once, shame on
So-
me. Fool me twice, you're going to jail.
Won't be fooled again.
Yeah. So Brittany assured me that I needed my pants off for this. And I'm sitting there, and I never ever had any issues with needles. I'm not one of those people. Like, I'm not going to do heroin, but needles don't bother me.
Well, that's good to know.
There we go.
Thank you.
It's good to know.
Yeah, sure.
So, well, there you go. So the other nurse comes in and she's like, do you want to lay down or do you want to bend
Is there
over?
is there music? Is
Do
there
you wanna-
lighting? Is there dinner?
Wow.
The lighting's awful, like you've never been to the doctor, right? It's the
Ugh.
worst lighting. It's cold. It's sterile. And I'm thinking, like, I don't want to lay down with my pants half off because that seems way more awkward.
So
than
you're gonna
just
bend
bending-
over.
I'm gonna bend over the bed with my pants down.
Yeah,
and, like,
with the
kinda
butcher
hold
with
them
the
up 'cause
butcher shop paper, right?
Uh-huh.
It's like they're gonna wrap
Yes.
a pickle in
Uh-huh.
there. Yeah, got it.
So, and what's great is, to me, I'm thinking needles don't bother me. This is gonna be fine. So she gives me the shot, and the shot is the antibiotics, and it hurts. And I'm like, oh, ow. Now, I've been working nonstop, and I don't think I've had enough to eat or enough water. But I'm not thinking that. I just, get the shot. And she goes, oh, no, the needle's too small. It's not for the steroid, it's not gonna hit. So she unscrews the needle in front of me, and it was like this big. And she comes back with a very big needle, screws it on. She's like, okay, we're ready. I'm like, okay, great. And you're
I
probably
have
still drinking
never-
wine at this point.
I have never heard of this crap in my life.
Yeah. So I'm bent over. I've already had one. I'm thinking I'm going to get two, and this is going to be fine. And the next thing I know, I'm on the ground.
Yeah, you
With
had
my
passed
pants-
out?
you had a reaction. Yeah. It's
I'm not, like, pants around my ankles, just bare bottom linoleum.
I mean, we've all been there. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
We've
I
all
mean,
been
I've
there.
been there, but
We've all been
normally
there.
not at the doctor's office.
I mean,
Yeah,
speak for
there's-
yourself.
It's
One
just
time.
it's a mild shock. It's a mild reaction that can happen with a needle or a cut into your skin or anything like that. Yeah, it's
This sounds like one of those penthouse forum stories. So I went to the doctor.
Yeah.
I
And they said,
know,
take your
right?
pants down, and we got to get a
When
bigger
she
needle.
came to, there were
That's
8
why
people
we.
in the room surrounding her.
Jesus, we just
There
aged
were,
ourselves,
well, when
by the
I
way.
came to, I actually couldn't breathe, so that was a little
Well,
problematic. But
if they do
I
the
came
job right.
to, and she was just petting my hair. Very nice nurse, but she was petting my hair, and she's like, "You're in the doctor's office. You're in the doctor's office."
So this
But
all
yeah,
happened like an hour after
while
I
you were
saw you.
drinking wine,
I, s-
you were drinking
I
wine.
was
I
still
guarantee it.
drinking wine, and you were pants around your ankles on the linoleum.
Yes,
And so, but you
yes.
you did not hurt yourself when you fell down.
No,
Okay.
no more than
Dr.
I was
Brittany,
already hurting.
Dr. Brittany held her.
Was
Brittany came in later. By the way, she called me the next day. I
Wow.
passed out 4 more times, guys.
Oh
Okay, so
God.
what have we learned from this? One, there's at least breadsticks in your joint. I've been there. You can do the bread and butter from the bread and butter experience, which, by the way, if you're going to do a tasting at Handwritten, do the bread and
You
butter.
should.
I looked online.
It's
I like the sound.
phenomenal.
I like the sound of that.
It's phenomenal.
So why didn't you snack on some breadsticks and have some water before you went in there?
Because this guy talks too much. I had to go talk to him.
Yeah. See.
Yeah, see, it's me.
See.
Yeah.
That was
This
all the way
this
through.
is how friendly I feel the connection. I make connections pretty fast with people.
Yes, you do.
So I simply saw her in the courtyard. Zeke was doing whatever Zeke was doing. I stood up, I opened the door to the study, and I said, "Yo, spider bite, let's see it." And then she
It
came
was
over.
so nice to see you again, though. I was like I'm weirdly excited. And
Well, I don't know if it's
yeah,
weirdly. I mean,
No, it's
well,
weirdly.
it's-
It's weirdly. She
I
was
mean-
right the first time. She was on that
Was
night.
she right?
I'm definitely right.
I like to go to places where I can build long-term relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And so at Jessup my guy at Jessup left to go somewhere else, so we're not going to talk about him.
Grant? Is that
Yeah.
who you're talking
Yes.
Oh, baby Grant. I love
And
him.
same
He did
trip.
leave for good stuff.
Same trip. We went back. So we started with you guys. We went back to Jessup, and I saw Grant in the little back room, and I said, "Hey, man, want to talk?" And he goes, "Hey, here's my card. Today's my last day." I'm like, "Are you freaking kidding
Well,
me?"
that happens.
No,
Wow.
it shouldn't happen.
It doesn't I know it sounds weird. It doesn't in Handwritten and Jessup in general. Like the people, I'm gonna just double down on what you're saying because I hosted and facilitated an engagement with this couple that I've known for the last year, and the people that I meet in my tasting room, lines are crossed. They've become my friends. Like
Yeah.
they're the reason why I'm happy. They're the reason why I celebrate. We send another member, their doggy's sick, and we send them something. And
Yeah.
another member lost a family member during COVID. And the people who come into Handwritten, at least for me and the people that I bond with, they're my people. I
Look,
will protect them, and you don't leave them.
Can I ask?
So when Grant left, like he cried, like it was a big deal.
No, it
bet
was a
it
big deal
was.
when Matt left. So Matt was my guy from
Matt
Jessup.
left, I cried so much.
I
I'm still
followed
mad
Matt
at him.
from Jessup to Handwritten when the new tasting room got built. We'd stop in to say hi. We had great bourbon conversations. I'm still trying to do the Jessup tasting where they fly somebody to your place, and
Yeah.
I think I'm close to
Matt
doing
could-
it. Well, can you do that? Can you be the one?
Of course, I don't know if I can, but I can do anything, right?
Remember, I told
I'll
you
see.
this. If we
With enough creativity.
if we guarantee 36 bottles, 3 cases of wine, they will fly somebody
and
here.
throw in some bourbon.
Well, yeah, duh. It's all right here. You can have as much as you want. They will fly someone here to do a tasting in my house.
That's insane.
Yeah.
and we've
that's
been
insane.
talking about it, like Steve and Laura Pecoraro, who own Harley.
Yeah.
I bring this up to people, and they're like, well, we're good for 3 bottles, 5 bottles. Well, I guess I'm good for 2 cases because that's about what I do normally.
Is it really? Do you really get that much when you're out there?
Yeah, I got my bill after the last Napa trip.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, we spent a lot of money.
What's the difference in prices between wine from one place to another? Is it because of how much people want it, or is it because of how good it is? Because those aren't always the same thing, are they?
Oh, that's a great question.
Oh, good
No,
question.
they're not always the same thing. But they both play a role. They're equally as important, and they're not the same. So, mountain wines. I'm gonna show you the map real quick. I'm sorry for those that are.
No,
just
I like
listening,
this. This
but-
is the district map. My stepfather almost stole one of these from Jessup, by the way. He wanted it so
Yeah.
bad, he almost stole it. Look at
I was
it.
going to say, this is a 3D map.
Yeah, you can step in the map.
That's so cool.
So you'll notice just the raised location. So mountain wine in general is just more expensive.
Right.
when we refer to the valley floor, we're referring to this, Oakville, Rutherford, St. Helena, the town of Napa, where we're at in Yountville. If you grow grapes in this little tiny 25-mile long length valley, you get 5 to 8 tons of grapes per acre, and we're talking mass generalization, but 5 to 8 tons. In the mountains, you get 1 to 3. You're doing the same amount of work, and so you have to, in some places, charge more for the wines. Now you get less, but you get better quality, so to speak, quantity versus quality. And that means people want it more, which means the price goes up even more.
Yeah.
Supply and demand. You learned it in elementary school.
Supply and demand. So at the end of the day, Napa, the real estate alone tells you the price of the bottle. If you're in Carneros, which is South Napa near the bay, where you're going to have Chardonnay and Pinot and be at Domaine Carneros, you are charging about $111,000 an acre.
Ooh, man.
Yeah.
Man.
If you're anywhere
and
else,
that's simply agricultural land right there.
Just land.
And it's just land for growing grapes.
Right.
Yep.
You can't build an asphalt plant or an amusement park.
Nor should you.
I'm just saying.
If you did, you wouldn't make. I mean, you shouldn't. Yeah. And actually, there's rules that you can't. But it's just agricultural. If I bought land in Oakville, I'm paying $300,000 an acre.
Good God. Good God.
That alone kind of, I think, lets you know that, these big corporations and the little tiny people like us.
Yeah.
We're just trying to cover legal costs and real estate and the price of grapes and all of that. And so the cost is associated with that. And I think Napa Cab has that great reputation that, those two things come together. And I don't mean to be super nerdy, but at the end of the day, it's because of geology, right? Napa Valley is a great place to get wine because over thousands and millions of years, the land has changed to create the perfect place to grow certain varietals.
Right.
We have 3 fault lines, 2 mountain ranges, about 28 or so in length planted acres, about 5 miles wide. It's an exceptional place to grow like Bordeaux or Italian varietals.
I wish you were a little more knowledgeable. I wish I would have researched beforehand before I brought her on.
I now have a 3D map I'm going to present you with.
And I do that at every tasting.
Yeah.
So,
it's very cool.
I'm not kidding. Terry almost stole that map at Jessup.
And
he wanted to steal it. He almost walked out with it.
And Vi, how long is Napa Valley?
Well, so Napa Valley, for instance, it starts with a town that people haven't heard of really called American Canyon. And that's, you drive through it, so to speak.
Yeah,
but there are people that live there.
You get off of Interstate 80 and you cut through the canyon and yeah, that's how it works.
Mostly bottling. So, part of wine, people forget, like hello, bottle, cork, labeling. There's a lot that goes into it.
Right.
So that's where a lot of the bottle companies, the glass companies and the cork companies are located in American Canyon. Not a lot of planted acres. So the acreage itself starts about Carneros and goes up to Calistoga. So you start at Carneros, and I would say maybe about 30 miles further north, you get to Calistoga, and that's kind of the top. Anything past that, you're getting to Sonoma County, like Alexander Valley. It's about 5 miles. 5 miles at its widest, about 1 at its most narrow. We have 500,000 planted acres. Sonoma has 1 million. So, and we'll never get more than 500,000. And it sounds like a lot, but 500,000 planted acres, and you're getting anywhere between a single ton of grapes and 8 or 9 tons of grapes.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Vi won't say this, so I will. If you want really great wine, Napa Valley. If you want good wine, Sonoma. I'm just telling you, that side of the mountain.
Unless you want Pinot and Chardonnay.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm not a Pinot Chardonnay guy anyway.
So we're out the other day.
Yeah.
And we're out at Pierpont.
Yeah.
And I said, do you guys have any Merlot? That's what Deb is interested in.
Yeah.
And they said, we have big bottles inside. And I'm like, oh, she hates big, full bottles of wine because they have the smaller ones out there, right? And I said, why don't you go get one of those? That's fine. He comes out there and he goes, well, I have one. And he goes, it's going to be expensive. And the guy behind me, I don't even know, goes, oh, it's from Napa.
Oh.
And I'm like, all right. I said, well, what is it? He goes, it's $40.
That's not expensive.
Well, I mean,
How is a $40 bottle of Merlot
Welcome to
for
Missouri.
$40?
Let me explain, and I'm going to piss off a whole bunch of people that watch
Well.
this thing because we are in Missouri. There are plenty that watch. Let me look right into the camera and explain. The wine here sucks. I'm just telling you right now.
Wow,
it's not
that's-
great.
it's kind of.
When we go to wineries, we ask for super dry reds, and they go, "This has happened at a winery that we love."
Okay.
That they've looked at us and said, "Oh, you must be a Napa Valley snob." That's a badge of honor.
You didn't say anything about Napa. They just brought it out on their own?
No, they said it. That's exactly what they said.
That's
Oh, you
weird.
must
Do
be
you
a
know
Napa
how
Valley snob.
tasting outside of Napa, working in Napa, I don't tell people where I work. I'm actually not a snob. I really am not.
Right.
First of all, Missouri, you guys are the first AVA in the United States.
We are, but it's not great. Norton is their claim to fame. It's not great. In
I mean-
California, I'm good with Lodi wines. I don't love them as much as I love Napa Valley wines, but I love that. I love Wild Horse Merlot that started out down
Oh.
with the college. I like all this stuff. Washington is doing great wines now. I just don't love Napa. I love Napa Valley. I don't love Missouri wines.
I understand.
So I have them shipped in.
I didn't buy the wine because Deb would have been upset. She would have said, "No way am I buying a $40 bottle of wine."
And what I love is when Deb comes over, Deb loves wine. Drink what you like.
Oh, yeah.
She is completely supporting the wine industry. There is no doubt
Oh, yeah.
that your wife
Hell of a
supports
job.
the wine
Right.
industry. And then when we open certain bottles, while she wouldn't drink it every day, she does go, "Wow, that's a nice bottle."
This is good.
But she doesn't care about it every day. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. I see.
So-
It doesn't make any sense to me because I don't understand the wine industry, the flavor of it, the value of a bottle. So when she started sending me to the store to buy bottles of wine, if I buy one, she goes, "Well, how much was this?" I'm like, "I don't know, $17.99." She goes, "Oh, that's way overpriced." I'm like, "I don't know."
Do you want to? You don't want to know what I paid for that 2010
That's
Napa Cab, do you?
I love, because I live in Napa, like our salads here are like $25.
Yeah, well, this is the
So,
middle of the nation. We don't have $25.
Not if you go to
salads.
that beautiful general store over by the Rutherford Grill, Kitty Corner.
Oh, yum.
The best burrito I've ever had. That place is amazing.
So everything's expensive here. So like to me, when you said a $40 bottle of Merlot, I was like,
It's like laughable.
let
So
me
we're
know
gonna-
where that is.
We're
That's
gonna lose Vi in a couple
super
minutes because
affordable.
there is a group of people waiting for Vi. She's 2
They're
hours
actually
behind
not
us.
here yet.
Okay, just checking.
So far,
So
so
before
good.
we let you go, let's
Yeah.
let's talk about how can people, one, what's the best way to get to Handwritten? Where can they go? How do they sign up? Let's talk about the Napa Valley and tourism. Let's talk about how do you start your trip in the Napa Valley
Okay.
at Handwritten.
First and foremost, with people coming to Napa, I mean, I know I'm cliche. Everybody's understaffed. Not everybody's open. So those that are open, you know, as much as we'd love to see you, if you don't call us at least a couple days beforehand, it's very hard to get in. And everybody in the Valley are people pleasers. We don't like saying the word no. We actually love the word yes. We like people. We want to see you. You are the reason why we exist in general as a business. So, I mean, Napa Valley is nothing without tourism. We want you here. So please just call ahead and let people know. Most places you go to, we're going to talk tasting fees. Most places have a tasting fee. And it's anywhere from back to the price point, anywhere from 40 to, let's just say 100, and that's 100 is high, but let's say between $40 and $100 per person.
What? Wait a minute. What if you go to this place? You
What
know
is
this.
that place?
You know this place.
Caldwell.
John
It's
fucking
125.
Caldwell. This is
John fucking Caldwell, I think, is like 100, 125.
120, 125 a tasting. However, if you buy 6 bottles, they will waive it. So when you buy a
Okay.
case, they waive 2. So there's
So
something
I
that
want
happens
to-
as well.
But wait a second. Is anybody
I-
paying for tastings in Missouri?
No, they should be paying
I
me
don't
to
think
taste the
so.
Missouri wine.
So they go in there and they taste a few wines, like 4, 5, 6 wines,
Yeah.
and it's completely free.
usually.
And then a lot of times they'll buy a bottle and sit outside with some cheese and crackers they brought, and they'll drink the bottle of
Yeah.
wine,
Yeah.
or they'll take one home or whatever.
No, what we do is we buy a bottle and we give it to somebody and say, give us the bottle back when you're done. We wash it out, we pour our wine in it, cork it, and we show up with that wine with their bottle and we drink our wine.
But I mean, $40, $50, $60 per person for the tastings.
So, and I would just like people to know, because you're not stuck with it either. Think of it like a credit towards wine. So let's say you
Yeah.
go somewhere, for us, you go somewhere at $60 for a classic tasting, includes at least 5 wines, and your black truffle potato chips and little crackers from Switzerland, not to be
They're
super
so
bougie,
good,
but
by
we
the way.
are.
They're super good.
They're so good. Um, you can waive that, and I don't think people always know certain etiquettes of what it is to wine taste in Napa. Call before, show up on time. Early is actually not good. Just people think early is good. Don't show up early. Just show up around the time you're supposed to. We pre-pour everything. Not everybody does. Your tasting fees will almost always be waived when you purchase wine. For us, it's you purchase a bottle of Cab and it's waived. It's not nearly as steep as Caldwell. And so I think it's important for people to know you're going to have to pay tasting fees, but they will be waived.
Well, that's
Show
fair.
up
And every
on
place is a little different.
time-ish.
Ask ahead of time. There are some that we go to where if you buy 6 bottles, it's waived. Sometimes it's a case. I have not gone to
Sometimes it's not at all.
Allura. I
There's
haven't
one
gone to
place that's
Allura
not.
because it's ridiculous how much it costs.
Alora?
Yeah, it's where our buddy Matt
Yeah.
went. It's
Okay.
he's now the assistant winemaker. Blah blah blah. Whatever.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I guess.
Whatever. He's a good friend. Whatever. But at the end of the day, check it out ahead of time when you're planning your trip, and know that they will ship wine to you. I had boxes of wine here till recently. I finally moved it. I mean, at the end of the day, I was telling Vi today, we don't have a gigantic cellar in our house, but we added up yesterday. We have about 65 bottles. That's
wow,
the
that's
basement.
a lot.
It's good. I mean,
It's a really good amount.
but that part of the basement is 58 degrees all the time. It's a great place to
Perfect.
store. The lighting down there is very low. I kind of had to change the exposure because we want to drink wine. So that's what we do.
Right.
We want to drink
I
wine.
So
understand
yeah,
that.
So check
call
it out.
ahead,
Yeah.
waive the fees. Also, just ask us.
Yeah.
We're not as intimidating as people think. Ask me. Tell me where you're gonna be, and because a lot of it, there's driving involved. People don't realize, like, our little valley, you can't just hop from one to the next in a
No,
couple
you
of
can't
minutes.
go
Sometimes it's
from Handwritten to the castle. So the castle is up near Calistoga, and Yountville's
Yeah,
way
you
down here.
can't.
You can't get there in 10 minutes. You just
No.
can't.
Yeah.
So just ask us, and we're transparent. If you're transparent, I'm not gonna hide behind how much it costs a bottle of wine.
Yeah.
Our cabs start at 100, and they go up to 150. And if that doesn't work for you, let me know, and I can tell you where else you can go. And nobody's feelings are
You're
hurt
gonna
about
say
that
go
either.
host
Well,
yourself.
co-host. Not only
No,
that,
not co-host
but you can
yourself.
join the wine club and you
Uh,
get discounted prices. So if you really like the
That's true.
wine and you want wine to be delivered to your house like every couple of months or 3 months or 6 months, you join their club, you get a nice discount. We
But
don't
that sounds like, I mean, your
now
cabs
not
must
a
be-
handwritten. Let me be clear. I don't want to throw out shade. There's no
The Jessup.
there's a discount at Jessup. There's not a discount at Handwritten. I am perfectly fine paying full price.
But like that cab, that must be some really good wine. Like you're gonna save that, and one special night with steak, you're gonna break.
Do
that
you
thing
understand
down,
what I
right?
opened for you today?
No,
Do you
I don't
understand
know.
this
I don't-
2010 Handwritten Napa Cab?
Have you tried it again? I would like you to try it again now that it's been an hour. This
Yeah,
is
you
like
should.
decant. This is the
Well,
practice
just a
versus
little,
theory.
in there, because Samantha's coming home.
I know.
She's
know.
gonna be like, "You
There's
guys
half
drank
a
all
bottle.
my wine."
There's half a bottle left. All right, and
It's
Vi is
so
not going to
different
say
now.
this. I'm going to tell you the last thing before we let Vi go to her people. She's going to make a face. I'm just telling you right now. When you have a host, that's a service. It's like having a waiter.
Yeah.
Leave a tip, for God's sakes. Leave a nice tip. Leave $20,
Yeah.
$30, $40. They spend an hour with you. They take care of you. They bring out extra wine when you're interested and you're
Uh-huh.
asking questions. It's a service industry.
That's
Please
very
take care
true.
of these
So-
people.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make too much of a face. I'm going to speak on behalf of all of us. If you are being hosted by the owner, it might be different. But if you're being hosted by someone like me, think of us, the people who are hosting you, as a waiter.
Mhm.
You don't need to call us a waiter, so to speak, but like we're in the service hospitality industry. If you buy wine, and you enjoyed the service, feel free to tip. It helps everybody.
Don't
And
feel
we're big
free,
tipping
just do it.
Hospitality industry.
Yeah.
Like, I tip more. I tip everywhere. I want to go to Target and tip people. I live
That's
in this
because you
world
believe in
where
the tipping karma, and I understand that. When you're in the
Yes.
service industry, before you go to
There's
work at
tipping
night,
karma.
there's tipping karma. So I believe that. And I was raised by tipping karma, so therefore you
well,
take care of the people.
You're pretty much in the valley and in Vacaville.
Yeah,
Or Vacaville.
Vacaville, the cow
Whatever
town.
you want to call it.
See, you said Vaca and you said Vaca.
Well, it is. We all say Vacaville because we're gringos.
Vacaville.
Technically, it's Vaca. Vaca means cow. Ville means town. Cow
Okay,
town.
cow town.
It also is because of this mountain range. Hello, guys.
That's right.
Vaca, mountain range.
I love that. That is so good.
I know, right?
Are we going to bid farewell, or do you want me to use an out? What do you want to do here?
We've been going for an hour and 5 minutes. We can say goodbye.
We probably all three should. Then.
We should say goodbye. So
And
you can hit the thing, and then Vi.
Because
can-
otherwise, Vi leaves, and she's like, "Did they keep talking
So here's what
about
happens.
me behind my
Vi,
back?"
we're going to play the music. We're going to keep the
I hope
video
so.
on. We're not going to get rid of the video with the music, but you just hang out until we're all done, and we'll say goodbye.
Yeah.
So cheers, my friend. This is a
Cheers.
Tom's World bottle tour today.
Absolutely, it is. Great job, Vi. Thank you for so much
You guys,
education,
This was
and
very fun.
I don't know if I'm liking it, and I like it more than the first time. I don't know if it changed or if I changed.
By the way, we're back out between
changed.
Christmas Eve and New Year's Day, so we'll call you.
Oh, good. I hope so.
We will.
I'm enjoying
Always.
it.
I'll be mad if you did it.
It's tasty.
I know better.
We'll have to do this again sometime,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Here comes the voice guy.
This has been a podcast story. Tom's World Beer Tour. For future episodes, download and subscribe where you get your podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeart, and Amazon Music. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Or send us an email at tomsworldbeertour@gmail.com. All content property of Tom's World Beer Tour, copyright 2021. No beer was harmed during this production. Only consumed.